Nate Diaz has been warned that his fans are going to cry hard when he loses to a tough stylistic matchup in Jake Paul in August. And Chael Sonnen names the perfect next fight for Israel Adesanya, plus a lot more, so stay tuned. Nate Diaz will make his professional boxing debut against Jake Paul in August, and the MMA as well as the boxing world is already pumped for it. Announcing the fight through his Twitter account, this is what Paul had to say, quote, "August 5th, we commemorate the funeral for Nathaniel Diaz as we send him in casket back to Dana White. Refreshments will be provided at the service. Black tie attire." Naturally, the MMA community was quick to react to the news. Some expressed their excitement over the highly anticipated boxing matchup, while others were disappointed. Ben Askren, who was knocked out in his boxing debut against Jake Paul, gave an early prediction, quote, "Nate fans are going to cry so hard when Jake beats him." Daniel Cormier agrees with Ben Askren to a certain extent, as he thinks Jake Paul will be an extremely tough fight for Nate Diaz, simply because he's bigger and has significant experience in boxing.
I don't know how much I like it. I don't know how much I like the fight, based on two things. Jake's big for him. Jake's going to be big for Diaz. And Jake also is improving as a boxer, but Jake can also hit Nate. And that's the worry. Nate is the guy that does get hit because Nate's tough. Nate got hit by Masvidal. Nate got hit by Tony Ferguson. And we know who Tony Ferguson is today opposed to who Tony Ferguson was before. Nate can be hit. And this guy's going to be bigger than Nate. This guy's going to be fighting in a rule set that benefits him. This guy is going to be difficult. It's going to be a very tough fight for Diaz just because he has to be so aware.
MMA veteran Paul Redman disagrees with Cormier and Askren, as he believes Diaz has the attributes to hand Paul his second consecutive career loss after his 0 was taken away by Tommy Fury most recently. Quote, "Tommy Fury finessed Jake Paul handy. Nate has been sparring with real boxers for the last 15 years. He has a granite chin and cardio for days. Why am I seeing a lot of people posting a handy win for Jake Paul? Am I missing something?" Sean Strickland wasn't happy with the announcement at all. He thinks these sorts of fights need to die. Quote, "Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz is such a joke. I'm not hating on either for making money from this clown show. I'm hating on the fact that a retired lightweight is fighting a juiced-up TikToker who lost to a recreational boxer, Tommy Fury. Stop watching this bullshit. It needs to die." When asked whether he thinks Nate Diaz stands any chance against Paul, Strickland responded negatively, quote, "Not a chance. Nate sparred with a boxer I know and he said he couldn't box. So on that assumption, I'm going to say no." For now, Paul is a 275 favorite to defeat Diaz, who is a significant underdog at 215. That means a $100 bet on Paul would return around $36, while the same bet on Diaz would return $215. The odds give Paul an implied winning percentage of 73%, while Diaz has an implied winning percentage of 32%. Paul has an excellent boxing record against MMA fighters. He's 4-0, with wins against Ben Askren, Anderson Silva, and Tyrone Woodley, who he beat twice. Will Nate Diaz be the first MMA fighter to defeat Jake Paul? With Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira tied at 1-1 in mixed martial arts, the MMA world wants a trilogy fight between the two. But that seems pretty unlikely for now. The newly crowned champ wants a fresh contender, whereas Pereira himself will be moving up to light heavyweight. Adesanya has beaten almost everyone in the middleweight top 5, so a rematch against somebody like Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori doesn't make much sense either. In the current scenario, Chael Sonnen has named Dricus du Plessis as the perfect guy to fight Adesanya next. Du Plessis is currently ranked 6th in the middleweight division and is coming off big wins against Darren Till and Derek Brunson. Recently, the South African dismissed the likes of Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman as legitimate African champions, saying that neither were they raised on the continent nor did they take the belt back home, and that if he wins the belt, he'll be the first real African champion in the UFC.
I'm the African fighter in the UFC. Myself and Cameron, we breathe the African air. We wake up in Africa every day.
Adesanya didn't respond initially, since he was razor-focused on Pereira, But after knocking him out, he fired back at du Plessis by saying that he'd happily drag his carcass across South Africa.
Look, I want to give this nigga no clout. I want to whoop that, I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to do it in South Africa or Nigeria. And but he's got to do work. He's got to do something. Show me something so I can whoop that ass and I can show you history.
For Chael Sonnen, there can't be a better storyline than this.
Izzy's only asked for one thing, and he's been very clear in telling us this. I would like some parity. I would like new guys. He's gone and beaten everybody. Then he beat some of them twice. He's getting ready to beat some of them a third time. Or we can move down the rankings to who hasn't been there yet. We can bring in du Plessis. We've got the African tie, and he's on a little bit of a roll. Let's get this done.
Max Holloway is more than ready to try his luck at lightweight once again. In his UFC lightweight debut at UFC 236, Holloway lost to Dustin Poirier in their interim title bout after a closely contested fight. At that time, Holloway was the man to beat at featherweight. But after 3 straight losses to Alex Volkanovski, Holloway first wants to reclaim the 145-pound title before trying his luck elsewhere.
But it's always tempting to go there. You know, you got killers up there, and those fights excite me. And you know, we see what happens, you know, but it's always great to go up a weight class when you got a belt around your waist. So we see what happens. Never say never. I mean, I don't know. We see what the card deals with us, what the cards we get, and we go from there.
Should Holloway earn a statement win in his next fight against Arnold Allen, he believes he deserves a 4th fight against Volkanovski or a title shot against Yair Rodriguez, as both men are scheduled to compete in a featherweight title unifier at UFC 290 in July.
If they didn't believe that I would get a 4th fight, I think that they would have probably forced my hand to go to 55 much more sooner, you know, but we see what happens. Even if he beats Yair, right? Like, who's after this? And if I go out there and put a statement on Arnold, like, who's after this? Who, like, let's name names. Put names in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, Yair is in front of me because he has the interim title belt. But, like, you know, like, in November of, 2022, you know, we just had a fight, you know, and it was a great one. But, you know, you guys know who came on top.
Should both Holloway and Volkanovski win their respective fights, a 4th fight wouldn't be a bad idea, especially after having watched Israel Adesanya knock Alex Pereira out cold in their 4th fight. 4th time seems to be the charm. What should Max Holloway do to earn another shot at the featherweight title? Ben Askren kept his words classy about his blood rival Jorge Masvidal's retirement. Masvidal retired from mixed martial arts after suffering a 4th consecutive loss at UFC 287, where he was beaten by Gilbert Burns. A veteran of over 50 MMA fights, Masvidal's career peaked when he knocked Ben Askren out with a thunderous flying knee 5 seconds into their fight at UFC 239. In his next few fights, Masvidal won the symbolic BMF title by beating Nate Diaz before fighting for the welterweight title twice, although he failed to win. The build-up to the fight between Askren and Masvidal was intense. Askren took a few jabs at Masvidal and annoyed him to the point that he promised to end his night in the most violent of ways possible. Masvidal delivered, and the two moved on in their careers, but on a personal level, however, they haven't truly buried the hatchet. In a recent interview, Askren admitted that he still doesn't like Masvidal, but his personal biases aren't stopping him from acknowledging his arch-rival as an inspiration for young MMA fighters.
You know what? As much as I think Masvidal annoys me sometimes, I love what he said in his post-fight speech about a guy who started with nothing and made a lot of money, and he hopes he can inspire someone else to go chase their dreams. Like, I might not like George Masvidal, but that's some good stuff. So, you know what? I don't wish anyone poorly. I hope he has an enjoyable retirement.
With Masvidal retiring from MMA, there's a good chance that he may transition into boxing, particularly when he was a boxing promotion himself. The Miami native won't have a shortage of options, whatever he chooses to do, but for now, he prefers to take some time off from fighting.
I definitely would X out bare knuckle just because my hands, your boy has 20 years in the fight game. My hands have been through everything you can imagine. There's times after fights that it's like the hands are bad, you know? So I with gloves and casts and all that. So I personally couldn't do that. You know, okay. I wouldn't do MMA, obviously. And I always wanted to do boxing fights, but so right now I would say no to all of it.
Would you like to see Jorge Masvidal in boxing? Give us your thoughts on today's topics in the comments section below. If you liked our video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so that you get notified the next time we upload one. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.